Welcome back. This is Buddhist Books Podcast, Mahāvagga Part 6. I normally check to see what episode it is and what number of the Tipiṭaka we're on before I start recording. And I neglected to do that this time, so I hope you'll forgive the slight abnormality in my opening sentence. Hope everyone's doing well, and I'm looking forward to getting to the reading, so I will get right to it. Okay. Now at that time, monks, being without preceptors, not being exhorted, not being instructed, walked for alms food wrongly dressed, wrongly clothed, not befittingly attired. Okay, so I'm starting to see how, even though this is telling the tale of when Lord Buddha started his ministry and taking on students and things like that, it is still part of the Vinaya Piṭaka, the discipline basket, because it is establishing kind of how the order was run, as opposed to that the first three books were about individual rules given to monks and nuns after these things had already been established. Now we're kind of backing up in time, and we get to witness how the basic organization of the order was established. Okay. While people were eating, they held their alms bowls close above the soft food for the remains, and they held their alms shawls close above the solid food for the remains, and they held their alms bowls close above the savory food for the remains, and they held their alms bowls close above the beverages for the remains. I'm really not sure how to visualize what's happening here, but basically they were being, not showing proper etiquette, I guess you could say. And having themselves asked for curry and boiled rice, they ate it, and they remained in the refectory, making a loud noise, a great noise. People, spread it about, saying, quote, "How can these recluses, sons of the Sakyans, walk for alms food, wrongly dressed, wrongly clothed, not befittingly attired? While people are eating, they hold their alms bowls close above the soft food, and they remain in the refectory making a loud noise, a great noise, like Brahmins at the mealtime of Brahmins." He said it. I'm just reading what's on the page. Okay. Monks heard these people who spread it about. Those who were modest monks, contented, conscientious, scrupulous, desirous of training, spread it about, saying, quote, "How can these monks walk for alms food wrongly dressed, and remain in the refectory making a loud noise, a great noise," end quote. Then these monks told this matter to the Lord. Then the Lord, on this occasion, in this connection, having had the order of monks convened, questioned the monks, saying, quote, "Is it true, as is said, monks, that monks walk for alms food wrongly dressed, and remain in the refectory making a great noise, a loud noise," end quote, quote, "It is true, Lord," end quote. Now it's really starting to sound like the first three books of the Vinaya Piṭaka that we've read thus far. Now, I'm going to have to apologize in advance. It's kind of warm where I am in tropical west coast of India. So I'm going to turn on the air conditioner, and there might be a little bit of background noise pollution. I try to avoid doing that, but today I need to do it. The awakened one, the Lord, rebuked them, saying, quote, this shawl is, I think, primarily, for people living high up in the Himalayan mountains in a totally different climate. And they usually wear a shirt under it. I'm kind of savagely dressing. Never mind. All right. The awakened one, the Lord, rebuked them, saying, quote, it is not fitting, monks, in these foolish men. It is not becoming. It is not proper. It is unworthy of a recluse. It is not allowable. It is not to be done. How, monks, can these foolish men walk for alms food 3 dots, and remain in the refectory making a loud noise, a great noise? It is not, monks, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, end parentheses, pleased, nor for increasing, parentheses, the number of, end parentheses, those who are pleased. But it is, monks, for displeasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, end parentheses, pleased, as well as those who are pleased, and for causing wavering in some. End quote. Then the Lord, having rebuked these monks, having in many a figure spoken in dispraise of difficulty in supporting and maintaining oneself, of great desires, of lack of contentment, of clinging, parentheses, to the obstructions, and parentheses, I think just clinging, this is Buddhism we're talking about, so you don't have to clarify, clinging to the obstruction. No, just clinging. Sorry, I'm talking to the translators that were translating almost 100 years ago, so they can't hear me, even if they're watching this, which they're not. I'll keep reading. Of indolence, having in many a figure spoken in praise of ease, in supporting and maintaining oneself, of desiring little, of contentment, of expunging, parentheses, evil, end parentheses, of punctiliousness, of graciousness, of decreasing, parentheses, the obstructions, end parentheses, of putting forth energy, having given reasoned talk on what is fitting, on what is becoming, addressed the monks, saying, quote, monks, I allow a preceptor. The preceptor, monks, should arouse in the one who shares his cell the attitude of a son. The one who shares his cell should arouse in the preceptor the attitude of a father. Thus these, living with reverence, with deference, with courtesy towards one another, will come to growth, to increase, to maturity in this Dhamma and discipline. And thus, monks, should a preceptor be chosen, having arranged the upper robe over one shoulder, having honored his feet, having sat down on the haunches, having saluted with joined palms, he should speak to him thus, quote within quotes, honored sir, be my preceptor. Honored sir, be my preceptor. Honored sir, be my preceptor. It's written here 3 times. I'm not just repeating myself for fun. Okay. And quote within quotes, if he says, quote within quotes, very well, end quote within quotes, or quote within quotes, certainly, and quote within quotes, or quote within quotes, all right, and quote within quotes, or quote within quotes, it is proper, and quote within quotes, or quote within quotes, manage it amiably, and quote within quotes, and makes this understood by gesture, makes this understood by speech, makes this understood by gesture and speech. The preceptor has chosen. If he does not make this understood by gesture, he does not make this understood by if he does not make this understood by speech, if he does not make this understood by gesture and speech, the preceptor has not been chosen. The one who shares a cell, monks, should conduct himself properly towards the preceptor. This is the proper conduct in this respect. Having gotten up early, having taken off his sandals, having arranged his upper robe over one shoulder, he should give toothwood. I think we'd call that a toothpick, right? He should give water for rinsing the mouth. He should make ready a seat. If there is kanji, having washed a bowl, the kanji should be placed near parentheses, the preceptor end parentheses. When he has drunk the kanji, having given him water, having received the bowl, having lowered it, having washed it properly without rubbing it, it should be put away. When the preceptor has got up, the seat should be removed. If that place is soiled, that place should be swept. If the preceptor wishes to enter a village, his inner clothing should be given, parentheses, to him, end parentheses. The inner clothing, parentheses, that he is wearing, end parentheses, should be received, parentheses, from him, end parentheses, in return. The girdle should be given, parentheses, to him, end parentheses, having folded them, parentheses, into 2 or 4 folds, end parentheses, the parentheses meaning that the translator added it. All right. The outer robes are to be given, parentheses, to him, end parentheses. Having washed it, a bowl with water is to be given, parentheses, to him, end parentheses. If the preceptor desires an attendant, parentheses, the latter, end parentheses, having put on his inner robe all around so as to cover the 3 circles, having bound on the girdle, having folded them and having dressed in the outer robes, having fastened the ties, having washed, having taken a bowl, should be the preceptor's attendant. He should not walk too far away, parentheses, from him, end parentheses. He should not walk too close. He should receive the bowl and its contents. He should not interrupt the preceptor when he is speaking, parentheses, but, end parentheses, if the preceptor is bordering on an offense, then speaking himself, he should warn him. When he is returning, he should make a seat ready, having come back first. He should set out water for washing the feet, a footstool, a footstand. Having gone to meet him, he should receive his bowl and robe. He should give back the inner clothing, parentheses, given, end parentheses, in return. He should receive his inner clothing. If a robe is damp with perspiration, he should dry it for a short time in the sun's warmth. But a robe should not be laid aside in the warmth. He should fold up the robe. When folding up the robe, having made the corners turn back 4 finger breadths, he should fold up the robe thinking, quote within quotes, mind there is no crease in the middle, and quote within quotes. The girdle should be placed in a fold, parentheses, of the robe, end parentheses. If there comes to be alms food at the preceptor wishes to eat, having given him water, alms food should be placed near, parentheses, him, end parentheses. He should offer the preceptor drinking water. When he has eaten, having given him water, having received the bowl, having lowered it, having washed it properly without rubbing it, having emptied out the water, he should dry it for a short time in the sun's warmth. But a bowl should not be laid aside in the warmth. He should lay aside the bowl and robes. When laying aside the bowl, having taken the bowl in one hand, having felt with the other hand under the couch or under the chair, the bowl should be laid aside. But the bowl should not be laid aside on the bare ground. When laying aside a robe, having taken the robe in one hand, having stroked the other hand along the bamboo for robes, or the cord for robes, having got the edges away from him and the fold towards him, the robe should be laid aside. When the preceptor has got up, the seat should be removed, the water for washing the feet, the footstool, the footstand should be put away. If that place comes to be soiled, that place should be swept. Parentheses, if the preceptor wishes to bathe, he should prepare a bath. I think I said parentheses, but there were no parentheses. Sorry about that. If he wants a cold parentheses bath and parentheses, he should prepare a cold one. If he wants a hot parentheses bath and parentheses, he should prepare a hot one. If the preceptor wishes to enter a bathroom, he should knead chonam, that's K-N-E-A-D, should moisten clay. Taking a chair for the bathroom, having gone close behind the preceptor, having given him the chair for the bathroom, having received his robe, he should lay it to one side. He should give him the chonam, he should give him the clay. Maybe this is like 6th century BC toilet paper, I don't know. If he is able, you remember the 3 shells in Demolition Man? Sorry. If he is able to do so, he should enter the bathroom. When he is entering the bathroom, having smeared his face with clay, having covered himself front and back, he should enter the bathroom. Okay. He should not sit down so as to encroach upon, parentheses, the space intended for, end parentheses, monks who are elders. He should not keep newly ordained monks from a seat. He should make preparation for the preceptor in the bathroom. When he is leaving the bathroom, taking the chair for the bathroom, having covered himself front and back, he should leave the bathroom. He should also make preparations for the preceptor in the water. When he is bathing, having come out, parentheses, of the water, end parentheses, first, having dried his own body, having put on his inner robe, he should wipe off the water from the preceptor's limbs. He should give him his inner clothing. He should give him his outer cloak. Taking the chair for the bathroom, having come back first, he should make ready a seat. He should put out water for washing the feet, a footstool, a footstand. He should offer the preceptor drinking water. If he wishes to make him recite, he should make him recite. If he wishes to interrogate, he should be interrogated. In whatever dwelling place the preceptor is staying, if that dwelling place is soiled, it should be cleaned if he is able, parentheses, to do so, end parentheses. When he is cleaning the dwelling place, having first taken out the bowl and robes, he should lay them to one side. Having taken out the piece of cloth to sit upon and the sheet, he should lay them to one side. Having taken out the mattress and the squatting mat, he should lay them to one side. Having lowered the couch, having taken it out properly without rubbing it, without knocking it against the door or the posts, he should lay it to one side. Having lowered the chair, having taken it out properly without rubbing it, without knocking it against the door or the posts, he should lay it to one side. Having taken out the supports for the couch, he should lay them to one side. Having taken out the spittoon, what? He should lay it to one side. I mean, is that the same as like the spittoon in the Old West where you spit the tobacco? I mean, I'm sure it wasn't tobacco. Maybe it was that beetle snuff Anyway. Or maybe it was just a place to spit. Okay. Having taken out the reclining board, he should lay it to one side. Having taken out the ground covering, having observed how it was laid down, he should lay it to one side. If there come to be cobwebs in the dwelling place, he should first remove them from the parentheses floor and parentheses covering. He should wipe the corners of the window holes. If a wall that was colored red becomes stained, he should wipe it. Having moistened a rag, having wrung it out, full stop. If ground that was blacked becomes stained, he should wipe it. Having moistened a rag, having wrung it out, full stop. Sorry. Having moistened a rag, having wrung it out. That's the end of the sentence. If the ground did not come to be treated, he should sweep it. Having sprinkled it all over with water, thinking, quote within quotes, take care lest the dwelling place is sullied with dust, and quote within quotes, having looked for parentheses any and parentheses rubbish, he should remove it to one side. Having dried the ground covering in the sun, having cleaned it, having shaken it off, having brought it back, he should lay it down as it was laid down before. Having dried the supports for the couch in the sun, having wiped them, having brought them back, he should place them where they were before. Having dried the couch in the sun, the chair in the sun, having cleaned it, having shaken it, having lowered it, having brought it back properly without rubbing it, without knocking it against the door or the posts, he should lay it down as it was laid down before. Having dried the mattress and the squatting mat in the sun, having cleaned them, having shaken them, having brought them back, he should lay them down as they were laid down before. Having dried the piece of cloth to sit upon and the sheet in the sun, having cleaned them, having shaken them, having brought them back, he should lay them down as they were laid down before. Having dried the spittoon in the sun, having wiped it, having dried the reclining board in the sun, having wiped it, meaning the spittoon, having brought it back, he should place it where it was before. Having dried the reclining board in the sun, having wiped it, having brought it back, he should place it where it was before. He should lay aside the bowl and robes. When laying aside the bowl, 3 dots, it's the same as earlier. All right. The folds towards him, the robe should be laid aside. If dusty winds blow from the east, he should close the eastern windows. If dusty winds blow from the west, he should close the western windows. If dusty winds blow from the north, he should close the northern windows. What do you think is going to be the next line? Yes. If dusty winds blow from the south, he should close the southern windows. Well done. If the weather is cool, he should open the windows by day. He should close them at night. If the weather is warm, he should close the windows by day. He should open them at night. If a cell is soiled, the cell should be swept. If a porch, 3 dots. If an attendance hall, 3 dots. If a fire hall, 3 dots. If a privy comes to be soiled, the privy should be swept. So we already talked about the bathroom. What's a privy? Oh, maybe the bathroom was for taking a bath. Oh, okay, that changes what I was visualizing that whole time. Sorry. If there does not come to be drinking water should be provided. If there does not come to be drinking water for washing should be provided. If there does not come to be water in the pitcher of water for rinsing, water should be tipped into the pitcher of water for rinsing. If dissatisfaction has arisen in the preceptor, the one who shares his cell should allay it, or should get another to allay it, for he should give him a talk on Dhamma. If remorse has arisen in the preceptor, the one who shares the cell should dispel it, or should get another to dispel it, or he should give him a talk on Dhamma. If wrong views have arisen in the preceptor, the one who shares his cell should dissuade him, from them, or should get another to dissuade him, from them, or he should give him a talk on Dhamma. If the preceptor has committed an offense against an important rule and deserves probation. Now this is interesting, because it seems when the rules are given that this all has already been established, and it seems that in the establishing of this, the rules have already been given. But I'm sure the reality is that all of this was written down centuries after both this was established and the rules were given. So sometimes the rules are referring to the teachings, and so yeah, it's assumed when you're reading this that you've already read the whole thing. So that's very interesting. It's like you're assumed to be reading it for the second time, sort of like watching one of those movies like Memento or something. It doesn't make sense until you watch it the second time. Okay. Yes. If the preceptor has broken an important rule and deserves probation, the one who shares his cell should make an effort, thinking, quote within quotes, how then could the order grant the preceptor probation, end quote within quotes. If the preceptor deserves to be sent back to the beginning, the one who shares his cell should make an effort, thinking, quote, how then could the order send the preceptor back to the beginning, and quote within quotes. If the preceptor deserves manatta, discipline, the one who shares his cell should make an effort, thinking, quote within quotes, how then could the order inflict manatta, discipline, end on the preceptor, end quote within quotes. Just an interesting note here. I think that this was all translated by the same I.B. Horner as the first three books, but I'm noticing subtle differences in the translation, so I think that I can assume she translated these first, and then other experts at Pali, or those familiar with the scriptures, gave her notes before she started translating this, because in these books they would talk about the manatta discipline, as if manatta were a kind of discipline. Where here it's saying the manatta and then in parentheses discipline. So manatta means discipline. Okay. And at some point in the future, maybe they'll explain what that entails, because they haven't yet. So it's assumed that you already know things that you haven't read yet. So it'll all only make sense upon second reading, which makes sense because they would recite a lot of this stuff every half moon. So, okay. If the preceptor deserves rehabilitation, the one who shares his cell should make an effort, thinking, quote within quotes, how then could the order rehabilitate the preceptor, end quote within quotes. If the order desires to carry out a formal end act against the preceptor, one of censure, one of guidance, or one of banishment, or one of reconciliation, or one of suspension, the one who shares his cell should make an effort, thinking, quote within quotes, how then could the order not carry out a formal end act against the preceptor, or change it to a lighter one, end quote within quotes. Also, in the first three books, there were a lot of references to the monk who shares the cell. Upananda was always, it seemed like he was sort of infatuated on some level with the one who shared the cell of his brother. And Tulananda, the nun, was always having an issue with the nun who shared her cell. So now we have a little bit more insight into what that kind of relationship is like. I always just thought it was like roommates, but no, it's a lot more involved than that. Okay. If the order, oh wait, we read that already. Mm-hmm. Yet if a parentheses formal end parentheses act, one of censure, 3 dots, one of suspension is carried out by the order against him, the one who shares his cell should make an effort thinking, quote in quotes, how then could the preceptor conduct himself properly, be subdued, mend his ways, parentheses, so that, end parentheses, the order could revoke that, parentheses, formal, end parentheses, act, end quote within quotes. If the preceptor's robe should be washed, the one who shares his cell should wash it, or he should make an effort. Thinking, quote within quotes, how then could the preceptor's robe be washed? End quote within quotes. If the preceptor's robe material should be made up, the one who shares his cell should make it up, or he should make an effort, thinking, quote within quotes, how then could the preceptor's robe material be made up, end quote within quotes. If dye should be boiled for the preceptor, 3 dots. If the preceptor's robe should be dyed, 3 dots, quote within quotes, 3 dots, could the preceptor's robe be dyed, end quote within quotes. Miss Horner's getting a little lazy and taking shortcuts in her translating. Just pointing that out. Okay. How then could the, yes. If the preceptor's robe be dyed, could the preceptor's robe be dyed? When he is dyeing the robe, he should dye it properly, turning it again and again. Nor should he go away if the drips have not ceased. Without asking the preceptor, parentheses, for permission, end parentheses, he should not give an alms bowl to anyone, nor should he receive an alms bowl from anyone. He should not give a robe to anyone, nor should he receive a robe from anyone. He should not give a requisite to anyone, nor should he receive a requisite from anyone. He should not cut off anyone's hair, nor should he have his hair cut off by anyone. He should not render a service to anyone, nor should he cause a service to be rendered by anyone. He should not execute a commission for anyone, nor should he cause a commission to be executed by anyone. He should not become an attendant on anyone, nor should he take anyone as an attendant. He should not bring back alms food for anyone, nor should he have alms food brought back by anyone, without asking the preceptor for permission, parentheses, for permission, end parentheses. He should not enter a village. He should not go to a cemetery. He should not leave the district. If the preceptor becomes ill, he should tend him for as long as life lasts. He should wait, parentheses, with him, end parentheses, until he recovers. Told is what is due to a preceptor. Well, all right. The beginning of the first book, at the beginning of the Tipiṭaka, I normally point to that at the beginning of these, but anyway, it started out with a very interesting story about Lord Buddha talking to a Brahmin who then becomes one of his lay followers. And Mahāvagga, it seems, starts out with the very interesting story of Lord Buddha after enlightenment, sitting under this tree, then this tree, and interacting with these people and getting his first students, and it kind of like is engaging and draws you in. And now we've seemed to have gotten to the part of the Mahāvagga where it's like, okay, these are the rules. More rules, different kind of rules, instead of rules for individual monks and nuns who are behaving wrongly and all that. This is general rules of order, how to conduct the Sangha properly at that time. I find it interesting. If you're still watching, then I think it's a safe bet that you also find this interesting, perhaps. And if so, feel free to, like and subscribe if you want to see more of these. And, all right. I hope everyone's doing well on this Sunday morning. For me, it's Sunday morning. I believe it's February 3rd. This video might not go up until February 4th because the internet is very slow here in the village of Majorda in South Goa, where Priyal and I have chosen to reside far away from the hustle and bustle and the noise of modern Earth. So, anyway, okay. That's it. That's all out of me for today. I look forward to seeing you next time in the next episode. I'll go ahead and perform the closing prayer without this extra noise. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us, and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace. Oh.